What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode, UFC 316. Time to break it down. If you're new to these, my name is Lucas. The man on my side, his name is Rohan. It's been a minute since we've done one of these. What, like 2-3 weeks? It's been a while. Took last week off. There was a break in UFC the week before, but now we're here. Rohan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Sorry if I sound a bit sick. Still recovering from like a recent cough that I just got, but I'm doing well. Work's been pretty weird. I'm working as an intern for the WWE right now, so just doing a lot with that, and then also it's in Connecticut, so just like long days for me. But I'm looking forward to this card. I'm gonna be at this card, UFC 316, right in my backyard at the Prudential Center, so I will be there. And yeah, I think it should be a fun fight. A lot of finishes in store, hopefully. So I'm excited. How about you? How are you doing?
Yeah, bro, it's great, bro. I appreciate that invite. You know, it's gonna be a great time. We're gonna enjoy UFC 316. Me and you right next to each other. It's gonna be fucking awesome. I'm
It's
kidding.
gonna be great.
But I'm also gonna be there, so don't worry, Rohan. We'll both be there. It will be
Bet,
awesome.
bet, bet.
It is pretty late. We are both very busy, especially nowadays. But we wanted to get this out. We're still gonna get these out on a consistent occasion. We got EG in the chat. What's going on, EG? I know it's very late, so we probably won't have as many viewers as we usually do. We're going during the day. We'll probably see like in total maybe like almost 100 of you guys, but don't expect that big of an audience tonight. But we wanted to get this out on Tuesday, so
Yeah, exactly. Early breakdown. Big card. So
we're
yeah.
both a little tired. Rohan's sick, but this is a card that the UFC is kind of in a somewhat of a drought right now, right? But I think there are a lot of good betting spots. So even if we sound slightly under the weather or not as energetic, I mean, please still listen to the breakdowns because yeah, I see a lot of spots on this card that I really like. Yeah, no stream last week, EG. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Not only are we busy like over the summer, but it's just hard to get motivation to talk about a card in which the women's main event didn't even fucking occur. I know we didn't.
No, that card was I've never seen anything like that. There were like 8, 9 total fights, and I mean, how many cancellations? Like 4 or 5 cancellations. And yeah, with the two of us obviously being busy and getting up there, starting to enter the working world, so that we having less time to really coordinate sometimes. But yeah, last week's card, it really just wasn't necessary, I don't think. I mean, 8 fights, 9 fights, and they were all really bad. So I mean, we're gonna be back to the regularly scheduled programming now. Obviously a really big card. And the next few cards, honestly, the UFC is about to enter a good little stretch here, I think. So be on the lookout for more content for sure.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, women's main event. That was crazy. I mean, I was like I was just chilling, right? I was like oddly tired on a Saturday evening. I was with my buddy Theo, or moderator Theo actually.
Mhm.
And I was like, all right, time to call it a night, lie in bed, watch a women's main event. And like I was like, I don't know if I'm extremely tired or what's going on, but did they not just show like the package for the fight to start and then all of a sudden they're going to the announcers? And
Yeah,
a seizure, like I'm not like laughing at the seizure. It's just like so odd. Like I was
I
dead
know.
exhausted,
It's
and all of a
insane.
sudden the fight's not fucking happening. Probably the worst UFC card ever.
Yeah, I mean, it already had the looks of it, to begin with, even if the main event did occur. And the fact that it didn't occur, just I think it's definitely in the conversation.
My boy FBA in the chat saying, "Are y'all gonna do this for UFC Atlanta as well? Because I'm gonna need the breakdown because it's gonna be my first IRL fights, bro. First of all, yes, we will be doing a UFC.
Absolutely.
We didn't get to it last week because shit card, but yeah, of course. And those first IRL fights, bro, they're the absolute best. I've said it hundreds of times. I feel, but my first card, I just remember walking in and it was just so vibrant, electric. It
Mhm.
just feels surreal. FBA, you have a great time. We'll be there this weekend, and you'll be at UFC Atlanta, so we'll all enjoy some banging fights. But yeah, we don't got a lot of time tonight, but we do have a lot to say. So let's just get this going right now. I'm going to share my screen, and we'll get right into it. 3, 2, 1, bam. All right. First fight on the card, we have Marquel Medeiros taking on Mark Chonsky. I want to do a little bit more research on Chonsky. This fight just got announced. But based on what I've seen, I just feel like Markel Medeiros is just more talented, just slightly more talented. Chonsky seems like a workhorse type fighter. But I just think Markel Medeiros, he's going to go in there. He trains out of Factory X, and he's going to fight in a smart game plan. I really, the fact that he was able, even though it was a controversial decision, the fact that that fight against Austin Hubbard, he was able to go all 15 minutes at elevation and against a guy like Hubbard who trains at elevation and will pressure you. It was a good look, in my opinion. I think Medeiros is just too talented here. Not a lot to say about this one. No bets as of now, especially considering Medeiros is, what's the line? It says minus 245 there. He's currently minus 210. Yeah, still no bet as of now. But I just think Medeiros, more technical, more athletic, more powerful. Chonsky, I don't think is bad whatsoever. I just think he's going to get out-talented in this one. Not a lot to say. Again, I want to do more research. It is only Tuesday, but for now, Medeiros, but definitely no bet on this fight. I mean, you just can't.
Yeah. I did a little bit of tape on each end. I could definitely anticipate a lot of people being on Troinski this week. Obviously making his debut, but from what you saw in the regional scene, like exactly what you said, he's a workhorse. He continues to come forward no matter what, put that pressure on. Not the most technical, but he's throwing a lot of volume, throws a lot of big looping punches on the feet. Obviously, doesn't really have a big kicking game. But he can wrestle as well. I think the wrestling is going to be something that he looks to incorporate in this fight against Medeiros, who also doesn't have bad wrestling. If you look at what he's done on the regional scene, I think he does. Well, he's shown the ability to take people down and finish the fight on the ground, show some good ground and pound as well. But again, the thing is, like with these UFC fights, especially people making their debut, like you said, it's really tough to get a read no matter what, because you just don't know how they're going to respond to that environment. It's so different than any other one on the regional scene. So I think I definitely agree with you that Medeiros, the more talented fighter here, better striker. I think he'll have the better striking arsenal for sure in this fight. And I could see him earning like a 29-28 decision. I think that's going to be my pick in this fight. I could see Troinski making it tough on him, maybe taking a round, but I think ultimately Medeiros pulls it out.
Yeah, FBA saying Medeiros did pull out due to sickness.
I did see that as well. I mean, that's a slight concern, but if he's ready to go this week, I mean, he's ready to go. If you're putting your health on the line, and obviously, I mean, he pulled out last week for a reason, so he's got to be confident in himself that he can, do the job this week. So I mean, I'm not too concerned about that, but that is something to look at if you're on the other side there. I honestly wouldn't touch this fight just because it's a debut and not a lot of data on either fighter, so it's a tough one to bet on actually.
I'm actually curious now. I mean, again, yeah, I don't have any bets, but did he like say anything on Instagram about it or anything? Let me look real quick. I am like kind of curious. Markel Medeiros says, I had to withdraw from this league due to being serious ill the last few days. I couldn't train, couldn't eat, wasn't able to safely make weight or show up with a version of myself I had standard for. This was an easy call, but yeah, I mean, it seems like he just got sick like the days before his fight and just like wanted to perform at 100%. He's probably fine now. Yeah, he's there. He's signing autograph. Yeah, he looks fine. I don't think it's going to be that big of a concern. He just wanted to perform at his peak. So understandable. I think he gets it done here. All right, let's move on. Next fight, we've got Quillan Salkilled versus Yanal Ashmouz. Yeah, I think Salkilled is probably a good parlay piece this week. I think Salkilled's really good at fighting. I mean, his boxing is really, really good. Very technical. The Contender Series fight was very impressive against a guy in Gage Young who I don't think is bad at all. I think that's a really good fighter. Gage Young. He came into the UFC, fought Evan Elder, made it a close fight against. Again, I don't want to do MMA math here, but Salkilled kind of pieced him up. Now he's taking on Yanal Ashmouz, and I just think, I mean, height and reach is going to be a massive, massive problem here for Ashmouz. This fight being at, I just don't know if Ashmouz is a lightweight. I think Ashmouz probably can fight at welterweight if he wanted to. This guy doesn't big. I bet on Ashmouz big time actually in his last fight against Trevor Peek, and it paid off. But this is a completely different matchup. When it comes to this, is like one of the biggest steps up when it comes to talent I've ever seen. I mean, Trevor Peek is a guy that's just all heart, not a lot of talent, but just all heart, dog, and power. Quillan Salkilled is very, very talented, and I think he can. I think Ashmouz is tough as nails. So I don't think he gets finished. We saw him like break his arm against Chris Duncan and keep fighting. But I do think Salkilled will win a 15-minute decision. I think his parlay piece is safe. 30-27 clear as day, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice parlay pieces on this card, and he's one of my favorite for sure. I mean, you saw what he did to Anshul Jubilee last time out. I mean, that was really, really brutal. One punch KO just like that. And I feel like all these Australians kind of have a similar fighting style. Like, they have a high guard, a high activity level, but they can mix it up pretty much anywhere. a big kicking game, but can also wrestle. Like that's pretty much his archetype, and I really do like what I've seen from him so far. Obviously, hasn't lost a fight since 2021, so I mean, he's got all the confidence in the world. And Yanal Ashmuz, yeah, you said it. Incredible step up here from Trevor Peak, who I mean, technical ability, I would rate like 3 out of 10 for Trevor Peak, and Killen Salkill maybe like 7.5, 8 out of 10. Like that's the difference we're looking at in terms of raw technical ability. And I mean, if you're having a decision against Peak and then you're facing somebody with the power and then the sheer talent on the ground, even I think that the wrestling is a bit underrated. I think he can finish this fight. Honestly, I could see a finish. I know Ashmuz is very tough, but there comes a point like, I don't know. I feel like Salkild will really only keep the pressure coming, and I definitely see a finish in the cards. I wouldn't necessarily bet on it or anything, but I do think a clear victory, probably 30-27 across the board for Killen Salkild. Just a much better fighter everywhere.
Yeah, Salkild, he's only really shown off striking so far, but I mean, I think he can get wrestling going here. So you never know. Maybe he can pull off a sub, but again, Ashmuz, tough as nails, never been finished. So I'll call it Salkild decision for now. But a good parlay piece. We can both agree. Same thing here. Jusang Yu, Jekka Sergi. I think Jusang Yu is a great parlay piece. Again, I think Sergi's really, really, really bad, especially on the ground. He's a powerful striker, and that's about it. Not a lot of technicality. And then when it hits the mat, yeah, he's a fish out of water. Got subbed by Weston Wilson in his last fight. Weston Wilson, the only thing he might have on Jusang Yu is pure jiu-jitsu. Otherwise, Jusang Yu I actually think is a pretty damn talented fighter. He can get hit. He can be hittable, which is kind of concerning against Jekka Sergi because his only path against you is one punch. But I do think Jusang Yu coming into his UFC debut, yeah, there will be jitters, but at the same time, you got to think he knows the game plan. Wrestle this guy, and if he wrestles him, I think he can fucking sub him in round one easy. He has a submission on his record. We've seen him wrestle in the past. Yes, he's a much better striker than he is wrestler, but I think this guy's just really talented everywhere, to be honest. I think, again, Jekka Sergi, fish out of water on the ground. I mean, that last fight was a bad look. I think Jusang Yu can like arm triangle him or something. I think I've seen him go for it one time in a previous fight. As a matter of fact, did he get an arm triangle sub? I don't think so. He rear naked choked the guy back in 2021, but I did see him go for an arm triangle at some point. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think he finishes this one on the ground. I think Sergey is just, I mean, the guy got finished by Angel Jubilee. Not much really to say. Again, not the type to do MMA math here. I just think Jusang Yu was levels above talent-wise. Jekka Sergey, man, he can land that punch on anybody, I guess. I mean, you saw him do it to Lucas Alexander in a fight that Alexander was dominating. But I think Jusang Yu avoids it. Although he's hittable, I just think the talent will overcome. E.G. Sam, what were your thoughts on Zachary Reese match last week? No, you guys are big fans. Yeah, I bet on Dusko Todorovic plus 235. I'd make that bet again. It was a 29-28 close fight. Yeah, I think Zach Reese was way too big of a favorite, but yeah, he won the fight fair and square. But again, I think the line was off. But go ahead on this fight.
Yeah, no, this one, similar to the last one. Yeah, I just think talent-wise, Jekka Sergey is completely outmatched. Jusang Yu, he's a very aggressive fighter. I mean, he's coming forward with big shots, but his head movement is just very frantic. I mean, he's constantly in his opponent's face, bobbing his head side to side, looking for those big shots in the pocket. And I mean, yeah, Jekka Sergey, he's good as like the hammer when, I mean, you can even call him that, I guess. But again, we've seen him get finished by Anshul Jubilee, and that is just as bad as it gets, honestly. And no disrespect to my Indian brother, but he's had a very poor UFC career, and getting finished by him is pretty much as low as it gets. So that's really bad look. And then, yeah, the sub loss against Weston Wilson is very confusing. Obviously, he's got some power, but Jusang Yu, he just doesn't strike me as somebody that's ever going to be intimidated by somebody's power. I mean, he's always the really the one on the front foot. And yeah, like you said, the wrestling advantage that he's going to possess in this fight, I think will be the dividend if he can just, get that going from the jump and look to take him down. And I think he can sub him any which way. So yeah, I would say Jusang Yu on the point spread, Jusang Yu in the inside the distance, all those bets come into play here. He should get the job done, no question. He's just way more talented than Jekka Sergey, who's just all power, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, all in agreement there as well.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I don't think Jusang Yu is scared of the power of Jekka Sergey, but at the same time, there's a chance he runs into something. I do like unders here big time. I like Jusang Yu as a parlay piece, but I also really like the under. Like under
Agreed.
1.5 at plus 110, I don't think is a bad look at all. Fight ends ITD, even minus 200 juice like that. I can see a late sub from juicing you. Honestly, I think this fight ends in the first round, to be honest. I like the unders
Yeah.
here.
The
Someone's going
pace is gonna be crazy. I think the pace is gonna be wild from the get-go. So yeah, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on. Next fight, we've got Ariane Lipski da Silva, or Ariane, I don't know. All these Brazilians have da Silva apparently taking on Wang Kong. I think Wang Kong should roll. Do I think she should be minus 500 against somebody that's a submission artist? And we've seen that Wang Kong's only UFC loss came by, even though if you want to call it a fluke, it was a submission. I think the line might be a little wide, but again, I'd probably line it at like minus 300. Nothing that you can't bet Lipski here. I think Wang Kong is really, really good. Was dominating Gabriela Fernandez up until that whole fiasco in round 2, and then just beat the shit out of Bruna Brazil in her last fight. I think she's really, really good. And I'm glad the UFC is keeping her rolling, keeping the ball rolling with her, because I think she can be really, really good in this division. I think Lipski was somebody that cashed big time for me in the past against Casey O'Neill. I remember that was one of my biggest underdog bets ever, probably top 10. And yeah, she came through there, which was awesome. Then she looks like shit against Jazz the Vicious. No shame in that. Loses to Karine Silva. No shame in that. I think Wang Kong arguably is on the level of those fighters. As long as she can just fight smart and not go ballistic and not rush a finish, I think she could probably slowly beat the shit out of Lipski. I don't think Lipski has any offensive takedown threat. I think Wang Kong could stuff the takedowns. Just be smart and just beat her up on the feet. Simple as that. I think she should win.
Yeah, I mean, we all know what the reason Kong Wang, or part of the reason that she's in the UFC, is because she has that kickboxing win over Valentina. Although that is 10 years ago now, but still, that's impressive, and that just goes to show her kickboxing prowess. But yeah, I just don't think that Lipski is going to be able to match her on the feet in terms of output, power, speed, all those. I think she's pretty much got the advantage, Kong Wang. So if she can keep this standing for 3 rounds, I just think that she's going to eventually find a way to just wear her on Lipski and tire her out on the feet and just kind of kill her slowly. So yeah, I do think that that's probably the likeliest outcome. Of course, there's a potential that Lipski pulls off some rare submission, but it's, again, she's not, like you mentioned, she's never really been an offensive wrestler. I mean, and her wins are pretty much like you would expect her to get them done. Casey O'Neill, I honestly didn't understand why. I was on that. I remember as well. I was on her as an underdog. Watching the tape, I couldn't believe that she was an underdog. JJ Aldridge, Melissa Gatto, like those are names that you got to be beating if you're going to be relevant in this division. And then obviously the losses that she's had, the 2 losses, no real shame. Jasmine has been on a tear. Karine Silva is very, very talented. So I mean, yeah, I would agree that Kong Wang is probably closer to that class than the class of fighters that she's been beating on the regular basis, which is the Casey O'Neills of the world. You can't really compare Kong Wang to Casey O'Neill, in my opinion, not at all on the feet. So I think Kong Wang is going to have a lot of chances to do a lot of damage in this fight to Ariane Lipski. I'm a fan of Lipski's as well, but I just think she's completely outmatched, especially in the power department. She hits really hard.
Yeah, that's all that really needs to be said. Let's move on. Next fight, we've got Chaos Williams, Andreas Gustafsson. I think Gustafsson wins the fight outright. And for those that didn't see, actually, I'll get into that in a moment. Let me break down the fight first. Chaos Williams, Andreas Gustafsson. There have been a lot of matchup changes for both these guys. I mean, let's start with Chaos. He was supposed to fight Uros Medic on this card. That just got called off like a week ago. Then they had this other guy outside of the UFC, but like he didn't pass the physicals. And then just recently, he got announced to fight Andreas Gustafsson, who was also having matchup problems of his own. Multiple cancellations. Was supposed to fight Trevin Giles. No, he was supposed to fight Jeremiah Wells at first. Then Trevin Giles makes it all the way up to the weigh-ins, gets sick, pulls out, and Gustafsson's fight gets pushed back a week to this card, UFC 316, and here they are. It's like it was made to be. 2 guys that will fight, have shit ton of power, and yeah, it's going to be a great fight. And I just think that Chaos Williams is kind of aging. That Bonfim fight, I do think Gabriel Bonfim's really good, but I just didn't see the same look in Chaos Williams' eyes as I've seen in the past. He doesn't fight a lot, which isn't good. Yeah, he's coming back 3 months after that Bonfim fight, but then again, he is getting older in fight years. At least he's only 31, but it just seems like he's slightly on a decline. And Gustafsson, I just think is a bad style matchup here. I think he's going to come forward. I think he's going to clinch a lot, slow Chaos Williams down in that first round, which is really important because that's where Chaos Williams will shine. That clinch, Gustafsson's very strong, and I think slowly he'll start to beat on him in that clinch. And honestly, might find a second round KO. That's my prediction here. Then Gustafsson is just tough as nails, and yeah, I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a good fighter. Not that talented at all, actually, but I think he's a good pure fighter. He will bring a lot of wars to this organization. You look at all of his regional fights, even his Contender Series fight. I mean, he was just some incredible fights. Yeah, I think he gets it done here against Chaos Williams, knocking him out. And as I was going to say before, I changed the title of this show to Fight Predictions and Betting Breakdown because we end up talking about bets like for every single fight.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, this will still mainly be a fight prediction show, but I just wanted to say Andreas Gustafsson, if you commented the keyword in our last post, John Jones, you'll see that we gave out a free bet, and that free bet was Andreas Gustafsson. I just don't get the line here. I got him at plus 170, and he's already down to plus 160, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I think Gustafsson probably finds a KO here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird. I don't really know where Chaos Williams is at this point. Physically, mentally, you kind of have a lot of questions, but the style that he brings, and the style that Gustafsson brings. I mean, it's pretty much the same times two, maybe. I don't know. It's pretty much the same. It is a bad stylistic matchup for. I would say both, but it's definitely one more for Chaos, just because I think that the pace that Gustafsson is actually going to be a lot higher, that he puts out is going to be a lot higher than what Chaos is even used to. Because usually we're used to seeing Chaos come forward and be the guy that's looking to apply the power shots and just, close the distance and land big shots in the pocket. But there's been, instances where he's meeting a Gabriel Bonfim who can kind of match him in the size department, or a Randy Brown who will keep him at bay at distance, or a Michel Pereira who's kind of a combination of both. Those are his three losses on his resume, and you look at him and you're kind of like, well, yeah, they all kind of make sense. And then who he's beating, Carlston Harris. I think you're picking him to beat Carlston Harris every time of the week. But why is that? Because he's not really an imposing offensive striker at all. Bedoya went to split decision. That's really not a good look looking back on it. If you're going to a split decision with somebody,
he lost that fight, definitely.
I remember a lot of people were saying that, and I think, well, if I remember correctly, it was 2 years ago, but if I remember correctly, I think I had the same thoughts. And yeah, those are just not the best of looks when you're fighting somebody who is, I mean, gonna come at you a lot harder than somebody like a Rolando Bedoya. So I mean, yeah, I mean, decisions with Matthew Semmelsberger, who's somebody again who kind of can match you in the pace department and not as much in the power department, but he couldn't really even land anything hard enough to hurt Semmelsberger. He did knock out Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, but that was 2020, a long time ago now. I mean, yeah, I think this is also shaping up to be another upset. I'm with you here, honestly. I was gonna pick Gustafsson against Giles, no question. I just think from just looking at it kind of from the same perspective, who's gonna be the one applying the pressure, and in the 3-round fights, that's pretty much. I mean, that can be the difference a lot of the times, is who's coming forward just looking like they want it more, and if you're having those questions like you mentioned about Chaos and his motivation now, and he didn't look the same against Bonfim, then all that is kind of not a good recipe for success against somebody like Gustafsson, who's just going to take the fight to you. Like, his nickname is Bane for a reason. He's just the villain in there. He's kind of reminding you of somebody like a John Silva. Like, he looks like he doesn't care what's going to happen to him, as long as he's the one being the aggressor. Even if he gets finished on or knocked out, he will be fine with that. Like, and that's not the style that Chaos wants. So I agree with you. I think that this is a great underdog spot here. Gustafsson, I'm going to be rooting for him here for sure.
I was actually picking Giles to upset Gustafsson in that original fight. Like, I was very close to betting on Giles as well, just because, as I mentioned when I was breaking this fight down, I don't think Gustafsson's that talented. I just think he's a great fighter. And I thought that Giles,
what does that mean? Wait. He's not talented, but he's a great fighter. He's a great fighter in which ways, though?
That he'll bring a fucking war. Like,
exactly. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of why we're on the same thing here, because I don't think Chaos wants to see that at this
That's what I'm
stage.
saying. This is a completely different matchup, which is why.
But yeah, I mean, and I guess the Giles thing, like I would have picked him just because I have those kind of same questions about Giles, even though like, I mean, Officer Trevor Giles, like he's kind of revived in a sense, but I just don't know. Like sometimes he looks like he
Yeah,
wants
he
it better.
definitely looks much worse than he has in the past.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of that same trend though with Chaos. Like he's looked much worse recently than he did in 2020 when he burst onto the scene and he was fighting Michel Pereira. Like he got that fight with Michel Pereira. If he had beat Michel Pereira, who knows where he is? But he looked like we kind of expected him to. I think we were both. Looking back, we didn't know each other then, but I was definitely Michel Pereira in that fight. Looking back on it, it's just like big talent discrepancy. But I think that maybe the talent advantage is with Chaos in this fight, but still just the pressure and the overall pace of Gustafsson might be too much for him. But I don't know. I think this is gonna be a fun fight either way. So we'll see how it goes.
I think it's gonna be a banger. FBS saying I'm pretty sure Giles. Shout out to Adam, by the way. We're here. We're back. I'm pretty sure Giles hit his head.
Whoa.
Concussion. Yeah, I did. Now that I remember, yeah, he did do that. That's kind of crazy.
Damn. With crazy shit happening recently. Freaking concussions on the weight cut, seizures. What's going on? What the hell?
Yeah, it's just some crazy shit. All right, let's move on. Next up, we've got Sergey Spivak, and damn, how many fucking fights are on this shit?
Yeah, it's a lot of fights.
Okay, we got to pick this up. I'm looking forward to this now. Sergey Spivak, Waldo Cortez Acosta. I like Sergey Spivak in this match up a lot, and I'll tell you why. Who is Waldo Cortez Acosta beat to show that he is ready for a matchup like this? He beat up Ryan Spann, who definitely didn't train for that fight. We've heard him talk about not training for fights in the past. Now he shows up at heavyweight and just looks awful. I don't count that win. Fights Robelis Despan, who turned out to be awful. Beat up an old Arlovsky, who sucks. Knocked out Lucas Bresky, not UFC caliber. And then if we look at his one loss, it came to Marcos Rogerio de Lima, and he clearly lost that fight. Got chopped up with the leg kicks. Now, I don't think Sergey Spivak's going to calf kick Costa to death. But I do think, when it comes to level of competition, I don't really look into that as much as other, cappers do, or just fight predictors do. But I do think it matters here. This guy's fighting Jailton Almeida, Marcin Tybura, Cyril Gane, Derek Lewis. These are just the best of the best in the heavyweight division. And I think this guy's had a lot of time to mature in the UFC. He's 30 years old. That's pretty damn young for a fucking heavyweight, I'll tell you that. He looked good in that Jailton Almeida fight, actually, up until getting knocked out. But he looked good. He looked improved. Submitted Marcin Tybura. Got knocked out by Cyril Gane, but I think he's improving every single fight, and I think this is a big step down in competition. And I just don't think Waldo Cortez Acosta is ready for this whatsoever. I think Spivak will be able to mix in the strikes with the wrestling pretty well. We've known Spivak to not be able to strike whatsoever in his fights 5-6 fights ago. Now, that Almeida fight, although he got viciously knocked out, he was showing some massive improvements. If he can mix up his strikes with his wrestling here, I think he can dominate this one. So, yeah, I like Spivak a lot. Gonna bet it, probably.
Yeah, agreed. He's a big favorite for a reason. This is
He's not. He's minus 136 on Bet Online.
Are you serious? That's crazy. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's insane. I thought, what? That's insane. I did not see the odds. That's crazy in my eyes. Yeah, I would hammer that. That's crazy in my I can't really envision a way that Waldo Cortez Acosta wins this fight because number one, you mentioned it, the big step up in competition, but his wins. The Spain win, he followed a very, very specific game plan against somebody who had a glaring hole in their game. So there's nothing really to take away from that you can compare to this, in my opinion. And then you got Sergey Spivak on the other side, who's consistently fought the best of the best and improved. I think he's gotten clearly better. They were feeding him to the wolves at a certain point, giving him to Tom Aspinall. You knew he wasn't going to be Tom Aspinall. But then he comes back down to the Augusta Sakai's. Then, Derek Lewis takes on Cyril Gane, obviously a big step up again, but then faces Tybura for the second time, gets it done. I think we've seen a steady improvement in his game, and even in the striking department, in the grappling department, I think he's made improvements in both. And so, yeah, I think that Cortez Acosta, he's got power on the feet. And I really don't think you can really rate his wrestling just based off the one performance against Despain, who has no wrestling whatsoever. So yeah, I would still give Spivak the advantage in the wrestling. And yeah, I mean, he's gonna match him, in the height department, 6'3", 6'4". They're about the same size. I don't see why he would lose this fight. Honestly, this would be the worst loss of his career by far in my eyes. I don't see any. I mean, yeah, the loss to Walt Harris back in 2019, but he's such a different fighter than he was back in 2019. Like, he's been in the promotion for 6 years now, improved a lot. I cannot see him losing this fight. It would be the worst loss of his career. So gotta bet him there.
Yeah, I like Spivak a lot as well. FBA saying, does Urseg finally get back in the win con versus Perez? It's a tough fight, actually. I think Perez is very sporadic. And if he's fully healthy,
Urseg should beat Alex Perez, bro. Oh my god! If he lost to Alex Perez, that would be the worst fight, the worst loss of his career by a while.
I don't think Perez is bad at all. I thought Perez beat Muhammad Makayev. I thought,
yeah, but Makayev was fighting like a weirdo.
Perez viciously knocked out Mateus Nicolau. Like, up until that,
also another overrated.
It was looking really good, solid against Tatsuro Taira, and then blows his knee out.
Like, he didn't blow his knee out. Taira did that to him.
Okay, but Urseg is not Taira. I think Perez can make this very, very, very competitive. I think if Urseg
gonna wrestle him, you think it's going to be a straight striking match?
I think it's just with his activity, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. Urseg is always waiting for those shots, but at the same time, when he does get into that flow state, as we saw for certain spurts against the champ, or as we saw, against Moran, I don't know, he didn't really look like it, but yeah, no, I think Urseg is still that talented, and he's a good enough counter striker to be able to capitalize on Perez.
Don't get me wrong, I think Urseg is great. I just think this is going to be much closer. I see people on Twitter saying, "Oh, easy win for Urseg." I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for him than people think.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, he has definitely proven to be a tougher test in the past than we've expected Perez. So I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, but I still think Steve should get that done.
We got to start picking up on these fights. We got Azamat Mirzakhanov, Brendan Ribeiro. Mirzakhanov's a great parlay piece. Simple as that. The guy's dangerous. Ribeiro can get hit. Ribeiro can get knocked out. We've seen it in the past. Yeah, I think this should be pretty easy for Mirzakhanov as long as he doesn't gas out. But then again, I don't think Ribeiro is the type of guy to put a pace on Mirzakhanov. I think Mirzakhanov is very, 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 very dangerous striker, and I think he'll get a knockout here either in round 1, round 2. Simple as that. And I think he's a great parlay piece, just way more talented, much better fighter levels here.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Brenton Ribeiro has just never been good as like the underdog, as a big underdog. He's always getting, kind of exposed, and I think this will be pretty much the same. Ming Yang Zhang, what he did to him. I mean, Ming Yang Zhang is a very good prospect, but at the same time, I think Mirzakhanov has that kind of just unforgiving power. Like, you cannot fuck up. Like, he will put you to sleep, and I just think that combined with the pressure that he's going to put on him, the size that he's got, the body shots, everything that he's got, Mirzakhanov, I think I really do enjoy his striking. So 14 wins, no losses. I think that record stays pristine.
Well, Ribeiro did come through as a massive underdog in his last fight against Nurgozai, but that guy was just like the biggest fraud ever.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I just think that this spot for him is just a complete nightmare. I mean, he's not getting takedowns at all.
I don't really. The tail of the tape can't be right. There's no way he is a 5. Brendan Ribeiro is not 6'3", and there's no way he's a 10-inch reach advantage. There's no way.
But he does have long arms. When you watch him fight, he does have weirdly long arms, but then he doesn't really do anything but reach for takedowns.
But there's no way he's 5 inches taller than this dude. No way.
Right? Yeah, I don't know about that. The UFC with the heights, though, they always get the heights wrong, bro. They always have I don't know. It's always wrong with their measurement. I don't know what they got going on, but yeah, I just think this is a terrible matchup for Ribeiro, just based on the fact that he's not going to be able to do what he wants to do on the ground, and on the feet, it's just really not competition in my eyes. So yeah.
Yep, agreed. Let's move on. Finally, at the featured prelim, oh my god.
There's a
Yeah,
lot more fights than I thought, actually.
what you said at the
Like
top
10
of
to
the show
12.
was what you said at the top of the show was probably right. There are a lot of big favorites on this card that should come through, and I do think Joshua Van will come through against Bruno Silva here, this featured prelim. I think Silva is not a bad fighter at all. I think Silva's, good. He had a great run in the UFC, finishing a lot of people, knocked out Cody Durden last summer, and then kind of just takes an unnecessary step up against Manel Kape and gets the living shit beaten out of him. We've seen Josh Van now be knocked out, and I do think there is a chance that Bruno Silva lands that one. I just think Josh Van, he's young. He's only going to be improving massively between fights. He always stays active. And yeah, I don't know if he knocks him out because Silva's tough as hell, but then again, Silva took so much damage in that fight against Kape. I think that, there's a chance that Van finds that one and just puts him to sleep just because, that was a generational beating. But yeah, I think Van probably puts on a similar striking clinic here. Not as many strikes, I just think he's going to be able to pick his way to a dominant victory, whether it's a decision or maybe he actually finds the KO. I'll predict a KO, round 1 or round 2 KO. I'll go for Van. Yeah, I think he could be a good knockout look here. I think a lot of people expect a decision, but I think he can knock him out.
Once again, I'm gonna say this a lot, but I agree. I just think that Josh Van he's a dog, and I know he got knocked out by Charles Johnson, but I think that he kind of needed that. I think he kind of needed to be humbled a little bit. Hadn't been knocked out before, and maybe got a little bit ahead of himself, a little bit overzealous, and paid the price. But I just think that this is a great matchup for him because he's not going to have to worry about the threat of the wrestling whatsoever. Bruno Silva's never been a guy that's wanting to turn any fight into like a strictly a grappling match. He's never been that fighter who's going to put some wrestling pressure on you from the get-go. And I just think that if you're going to sit back and kind of, fight on the outside, and Bruno Silva is very good at doing that. He's good at picking his shots from the outside, occasionally stepping in with those big ones and intercepting you and really just pulling some strikes out of nowhere. Sometimes he has a lot of versatility, but I just think that Josh Van is especially that round 1 might be close, but once he makes his reads and downloads the data, as they say, I just think that then he starts to make his moves and starts to come forward and starts to mix in the body shots and the calf kicks, and then he becomes a whole handful to deal with. And the punches start to come from all sorts of angles. And I just think it's going to be too much for Bruno Silva, honestly. I could see a finish. I think the point spread's a perfect parlay piece. I think that -3.5 should be lined about like -190, 200. I think take that all day. I think he's not losing. Maybe he drops that first round. You know what? I take that back.
Like we've seen him get hurt badly by Charles.
I know. I take that back. I take that back. Don't play the point spread because there's definitely a chance that he loses that first round. But again, I just think those are you remember that Charles Johnson fight. Charles Johnson took the fight to Josh Van in a way that I really don't think he was prepared for. And he got caught with some brutal shots, especially that uppercut that landed. But I just think he's learned his lesson. He's, like you said, he's a very young fighter. He's still improving a lot. And this is just a great matchup for him, I think, on paper. And stylistically speaking, I think he should definitely capitalize here. So Josh Van, big favorite, but I think you got to take him here.
Bang. Let's move on. Main card time. Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, he's been big time for me in his last 2 fights. Yeah, he came through against the last 3 fights, actually. Yeah, last 3 fights.
Yeah, you got a good read on Kevin Holland. I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah, he had that fight against Dolice. And, here's the thing with Holland. You got to be smart. Whether he fights at 185 or 170, you got to bet accordingly. He fought at 185 against the guy in Roman Dolice who's very strong and physical. Bet on Roman Dolice at plus money, easy cash. Was that plus money? I don't know. All I know is the line was close, and I bet on Dolice. Don't remember exactly. I think he was plus money. I might be wrong, but I bet on Dolice.
That line had it was very close, so it might have been some flipping going on.
Yeah, exactly. And Dolice was just way too physical and strong. Exactly how I predicted. And yeah, he just crumbled because Holland isn't made for 185. Same thing happened here. I had a massive bet on Reinier Ritter to win and to win inside the distance. He does just that, just way too big. Holland's not made for that weight class. And that's when you buy low, folks. He fights Gunnar Nelson, but moves down to 170. People see him getting out-grappled, out-wrestled, demolished on the ground. And they think, oh, Gunnar Nelson, great grappler. He'll submit Kevin Holland easy.
I fell into the trap.
Come on, Rohan. You should have heard me. I was spitting.
Yeah,
Kevin
I thought that was a weird fight too, bro. I was
Kevin Holland at 170, it's just completely different. I mean, it's 15 pounds less. He's fighting guys that are, smaller, significantly smaller. And yeah, he won that fight. Yeah, he got taken down and held down at some points, but just did so much more damage. And when it comes to this fight against Vicente Luque, obviously Vicente Luque isn't going to wrestle, and if he does, I don't think he'll be able to get takedowns. I think Holland probably gets a knockout here. We saw, I mean, let's look Vicente Luque. First of all, I want to start with that Jeff Neal fight. Horrible, horrible look. Gets viciously knocked out. Gets a brain hemorrhage. I mean, that was just a fucking disaster. Then he comes back against Rafael dos Anjos. We always knew Vicente Luque to be this like killer who just always goes to war and isn't afraid of anybody. In that RDA fight, he like fights scared and is just like attempting a bunch of takedowns. The fight was kind of close. I mean, just a really weird Vicente Luque. And it obviously had to do with that whole brain hemorrhage. He just looks scared. Then he goes and fights Buckley and didn't even get hit with a clean punch, just got overpowered and just kind of, I don't want to say gave up, but that's kind of what it seemed like to me. And then he goes out there against Demba Garimbo, looks more confident, and he hits him, he gets him in an Anaconda's signature choke. So that was a good bounce back win. Hopefully that's given him a lot more confidence. But here's the thing with Kevin Holland. I just think that once Holland stuffs that first takedown, I think Luque is going to shoot off the rip, like within the first minute. And once Holland gets his separation back, I mean, I just think the power of Kevin Holland, especially at this weight class, is just going to be too much. And I think Luque is going to get PTSD from, that brain hemorrhage, and he's going to fight scared again. And I can see a similar situation to that Buckley fight. I just think he's going to crumble again. And I think Holland gets a knockout in round 1 or round 2.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got the formula down. 170, that's his weight class. And I mean, Themba Garimbo and Kevin Holland are not comparable. They're just not comparable fighters. Kevin Holland is just a much more seasoned MMA fighter. And I mean, other than that, like the loss against, I mean, the win against RDA, it just seems like forever ago. And it kind of was, 2 years ago almost. But just like, that Luque at that age is just not, I mean, and not even that age, it's just the age and fighting years and the damage that he's accumulated throughout his career, the wars that he's been in. You just know how much of a toll it's taken on him. You can see it in the fights, and you can see it even when he's winning. And I mean, he looked horrible against Buckley, looked horrible against Jeff Neal, obviously, and that's kind of what started the downfall. But I just think that, yeah, right now to face Kevin Holland, who just seems like he's motivated when he knows he's supposed to be motivated. He's supposed to be Mikel Oleksiejczuk. He's motivated and he wins. He's supposed to be Gunnar Nelson. He's motivated and he wins. Same thing for Chiesa, Ponzinibbio. But then the other ones, Della Maddalena, I mean, that one, even you can argue that he did, better than a lot of people expected, almost won that fight. But Michael Page, he had no idea what to expect. He got washed. De Ritter, Dolitze, you explained it, at 185, just not the same fighter. But yeah, right now I think he's just catching Vicente Luque at the perfect time. He should win this fight inside the distance, just with the amount of volume that's going to be coming from both guys. Vicente's never one to shy away, even from even with all the damage that he's taken. He's never going to shy away from a war. So yeah, this has the making of a fun fight, but Kevin Holland should definitely come out on top here. I think big favorite for a reason, and he usually does well in these spots. So I'm with you. Once again, you got the read, so I'm tailing you here, Kevin Holland, baby.
Yeah, I'm confident here again. Yeah, exactly. I think I do have the formula, so we'll go Kev. Big favorite now, but I think the knockout play is good. I think he gets a finish here. All right, let's move on. Next fight on the card, we have Mario Batista, Patchy Mix.
This one, I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie, no read on this, bro. None.
Really? Sorry for the ad here, folks. Tapology. They sold their soul. I think this line is fucking ridiculous. This is coming from somebody that bet on Patchy Mix in his last fight in Bellator against Magomedov, and he lost that fight. If we're being honest, he lost that fight pretty clearly, in my opinion. Thought he lost 3 rounds pretty clearly. I think Mario Batista is much better than Magomedov. I think Batista wins a clear decision. But the reason why I'm kind of hesitant with betting him is because Patchy Mix's BJJ is like insane. So I could see a world where Batista sticks his neck out and it's just done. He just gets subbed. So in my eyes, I mean, it's simple. I just think Patchy Mix he can lose a lot of moments. He can lose a lot of moments. I think Mario Batista is a very good fighter, and I think Patchy Mix is kind of a moments guy, which can be a problem here against the guy, and Batista is so active. But I don't know, man. If Batista, he has to mind his P's and Q's at all time when he's in the clinch, when he's wrestling. He has to, because Mix will find a submission, which is why it's so hard to call, because I think, you
That's
know, I think that in a 15-minute fight, I don't. It's just so hard. I think Batista's the better fighter. He
That's
just
what I'm saying. And the line is confusing me, and I shouldn't let that happen. But too many times, like I'm looking at the line right now, I think he was plus 150 last time I looked at it. I'm like, if I'm just envisioning these two in the octagon together, like Patchy Mix is just like you know what you're getting. He's not a volume guy whatsoever on the feet. He's like you said, a moments winner. He waits for the big shots if they're there. If they're not, he will just sit back and chill at a distance and point fight, and not even really point fight because he's not really scoring many points if he's not in the pocket. And Bautista, I think he is a smart fighter. Say what you want about his last couple of fights and how he looked against Jose Aldo, but I mean, he had a clear game plan as he explained, and he stuck to that game plan. And I mean, but that was such an underwhelming and disappointing performance. So I'm just like sitting back and I'm thinking, like, how does this fight play out if Patchy Mix is just gonna sit back and wait for the fight to come to him as he does sometimes? And Bautista also is somebody that, he's high volume, but he's not really taking a lot of risks. Against Jose Aldo, he did not want to take any risks with getting on the ground with him. He probably won't take any risks getting in a grappling exchange with Patchy Mix, right? So I just feel like if he's able to do that, and he's proven that he's been able to stick to a game plan, if his coaches come up with a good game plan for him in this fight and say, look, you're the longer guy, you're the more active guy, you've got the bigger arsenal of tools on the feet, just stick to a point fight from distance, I think he'll probably be able to do that, and occasionally, be able to clinch him up and land some strikes there. So honestly, the more I think about it, I'm just going to take the underdog in Mario Bautista. I think if I'm just playing it out in my head, he wins more times than not. It's a weird spot for Patchy Mix, obviously debuting, and he's done so well in Bellator, but against, different competition, and it's pretty much a different world in the UFC. So it's hard to gauge. That's why I said I got no read on this, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Mario Bautista as my pick, but no confidence with that.
I mean, one, I think that Batista needs to be clinching like the entire fight. Like, I think he needs to make this very, very boring. I think this is not going to be a good fight. Let me start by saying that.
That's what I'm saying. It could be boring as fuck. I think it could be boring for all 15 minutes.
You have a guy in Batista who's just going to throw a lot of volume versus a guy in Patchy Mix who's just going to sit back and wait for that one thing. And I like what you said there. I mean, I feel like Batista wins more often than not. I feel like 6 times out of 10, he probably wins a decision. And I feel like 3 or 4 times out of 10, Mix finds like a guillotine. So outside, what I'm looking for, as I was listening to you talk, and I was just thinking, I was looking on DraftKings, they don't have it yet. But what I'm thinking is that Batista by decision or Mix by sub combo bet. I mean, I think that's a perfect way to play.
Yeah, no, I really don't see Bautista knocking Mix out. Has he been knocked out? He has one loss, and it's a decision loss. Yeah, he's never been knocked out. And I just like Bautista's not one to put that sort of just fear in your heart, and he's just not that intimidating of a striker in my eyes. I mean, he's faced some tough competition recently. Damon Blackshear, Ricky Simon, Jose Aldo. He's taking steps up, and this is probably a fight that makes a lot of sense for him right now. And I actually like the matchmaking in a sense, because it does make a lot of sense for both guys. It's somebody for Patchy Mix who he's coming in and is not a class above, and he's not a big underdog. It's a very winnable fight for both guys. So I like the matchup, but I just think, Bautista, I've seen him be able to execute a game plan, and against Patchy Mix, who probably will come in there with less of a game plan because he's, just, I don't know. I don't think you can fully prepare for that UFC stage as a newcomer like that. And we've seen that multiple times. Obviously, Chandler is the outlier, but I don't know. These older guys coming over, like we recently saw it with Pitbull. Like he just, they threw him to the wolves. I'm not gonna lie, giving him Yair, but he kind of just looked like he didn't know what to do at times. And I don't know. It's gonna be a weird fight, this one. It could go so many different ways, but I'm just gonna pick Bautista just for the fuck of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll also pick Batista by decision, but again, I mean, 0% of me would be surprised if Patchy finds a
No.
guillotine type choke. All right, let's move on. Next feature fight we have. Oh, that was this is the feature fight. Kelvin Gastelum, Joe Pyfer. At Elevation in Mexico City, where this fight was originally scheduled, I was honestly probably just going to outright pick the big dog in Gastelum. I mean, we've seen Pyfer slowed down big time in last fights. He had like an illness a few weeks before that. I was going to pick Gastelum, but now that he's recovered, he's fighting at sea level. I think he probably, I don't know. I mean, he's just so much bigger. It's tough to go Kelvin, but hey, I mean, I think if this fight gets extended and Kelvin doesn't get knocked out early, he's 100% winning round 3. Like, you can bet on that. If this fight gets to round 3, Kelvin Gastelum's winning round 3. It's just, will it get there? And it's tough to call because we know Gastelum is tough as nails, but we know he's super tough, but Joe Pyfer also is one of the hardest hitters, I guess we could say, ever, especially one of the hardest middleweight hitters ever. So it's a really, really weird fight. It's a very tough fight to bet on. I don't know if I think this line is kind of nuts. Like minus 400, Joe Pyfer is nuts, in my opinion. So I might be forced to bet Gastelum here. But then again, I mean, Kelvin, we don't know where he's at, right? He's having weight problems. He's back up to 185. He's significantly smaller than Pyfer. He beat Daniel Rodriguez in his last fight. I think we can both agree that this is a step up. He got dominated by Sean Brady at welter. I mean, it's just such a weird time in his career. His career has always been weird with the weight and all that. Now he's back at 185 because he can't cut the fucking weight to 170, which should be his natural weight class. This guy's just not disciplined whatsoever. It's a really, really weird fight. If I knew for a fact that Kelvin was taking this fight seriously, I'm betting him without a doubt. It's just, you never know with this dude. I'm going to pick Pyfer to win a 29-28 decision. I don't think Gastelum gets knocked out, but I think Pyfer just hits him with more power in the early rounds. But yeah, I think I might have to bet Gastelum just because, I mean, in no world should Pyfer be this big of a favorite. I mean, I think it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting minus 400. That's pretty crazy, but it's just another situation of like, it's the only reason that is because of the timing. Like you just said it. If this is 2 years ago or Pyfer, if this is 2 years ago and Gastelum is taking this serious, then yeah, he's live absolutely because he is probably the more technical guy. He's the better wrestler. Obviously, he's got more experience everywhere. I mean, this is Kelvin Gastelum we're talking about, but Joe Pyfer, oh man, I just think stylistically he doesn't really have to do too much. Too much outside of his comfort zone to win this fight. Like, I mean, we know he's got the power. He showed off a bit of the submission game, and he's been doing a lot of this guy's. He's got a decent track record in his last couple fights. Obviously, he's working on rounding out his game, and I think that'll probably help him here. But again, I just think Kelvin Gastelum, this is not a fight where you can pick him with any sort of confidence because he's gonna be at a physical disadvantage everywhere. I mean, he's the shorter guy, the older guy. At this point, you got to worry about where his chin and his power is. Even though this is one of the most durable guys in the UFC history, I mean, still, it's Joe Pyfer, and his power is nothing to mess with. So you just never know. You never know. And in these bigger weight classes, anything can happen. But that said, I mean, yeah, you can't take anything. The D-Rod win, it's D-Rod. D-Rod has looked so bad recently. And I know he just beat Ponzi. Good on him, but that fight was a joke. I'm sorry. And then Chris Curtis in 2023 before that, the inactivity scares me. The age scares me. The timing scares me. It's too much on the Gastelum side for me to say that he's gonna beat Joe Pyfer. No, I can't do it. So I know the price is crazy, but you just got to roll with it. Honestly, I think you'd be pretty crazy to take any shot on Kelvin Gastelum at this stage with all the question marks that he's got.
So you think betting him at what is it, 330? You think that's...
Bro, I mean, like, Does he do anything too much better than Joe Pyfer at this stage of his career for you to be so confident?
Cardio is significantly better.
The cardio, but I mean, it's a 3-round fight, and Joe Pyfer, I mean, he's still 28 years old, probably hasn't hit his fighting prime yet. Gaslam's probably past his fighting prime. Gaslam has fought how many times in the last 3 years? 3.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I like Pyfer. I think he can also get takedowns here just because Gaslam's so tiny for this weight class.
That too. It's just, yeah, I can't see it. I'm going to be rooting for Kelvin Gastelum because this is a legend of the UFC. He's done so. I agree with you, bro. I agree. I think he can knock him out. Honestly, if there's ever a time where you would be like not surprised that Kelvin Gastelum of all people is getting knocked out, it would be to somebody like Joe Body Bags Pfeiffer. His nickname is that for a reason. But honestly, I'm going to be rooting for Kelvin. I hope he pulls through. That would be amazing, but I just don't see it.
Bang. There you guys go for that fight. We got 2 more left. We got Kayla Harrison and Juliana Pena. Dude, fuck. I don't know, bro.
Another one where you don't want to bet this fight, bro. Like Kayla Harrison. I mean Juliana Pena more than Kayla Harrison is the reason I would say why, because of what she did to Amanda Nunes. But oh my god.
I don't want to talk about this one for a while just because, like, one, I'm like kind of getting tired. It's kind of getting late. I know it's our fault for starting this late, but like this is also just like a mind fucking fight. I think 7 times out of 10. This I'm not gonna say a lot. I'm just gonna say this. I'm not gonna sit here and give you guys a very, very technical breakdown, and I'm never gonna give you guys a real technical breakdown of this fight just because I don't want to. But I'll say this. 7 times out of 10, I think Kayla Harrison finishes this fight in round 1 or round 2. Submits Juliana Pena on the ground. I don't think Juliana Pena is that good on the mat. And I think the majority of times she probably gets finished early by Kayla Harrison. However, if this fight extends into the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, I mean, this could be bad news for Harrison. And I mean, if it was somebody else, I mean, Juliana Pena is like one of the worst champions ever. We can both agree that she's one of the worst UFC champions ever. Like, not a lot of talent, just like dog. That's all she really has. But I mean, that may be what wins her this fight if one of those 3 out of 10 occurrences can occur. If she can escape early somehow, which is going to be a very, very tall task. Very tall task. I mean, it's her fight to lose. I mean, Kayla Harrison, not only did she look like she was slowing down big time in that round 3 against Ketlin Vieira in her last fight, but now she's cutting in. Not only is this 5 rounds, she's cutting an extra pound.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's going to be a big difference. So, I mean, that's all I really have to say. I'm going to predict Kayla Harrison to win in round 1 or round 2. But man, I mean, I'm going to live bet Juliana Pena at like plus 2,000-3,000 at the end of round 2 if she somehow escapes. That's going to be a great betting look because I think she will make this fight close if it gets extended. Very close. And I think if this fight can get to round 3, I'm not saying that Kayla Harrison won't win round 3. I think there's a chance that Kayla Harrison could win 48-47 rounds 1, 2, and 3. I just think that if you're going to get an insane number on Pena after round 2 if she escapes. And I think that Harrison might slow down bad the later this fight goes. So I'm going to pick Harrison early. But, I mean, if she can't finish her round 1, round 2, I don't want to say she's fucked, but it's going to look scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same read here, man. I just you got to worry about that cardio, man, especially with that extra pound. Like you said, it's always a problem. And those fighters that we've heard it time and time again from the consistent champions who have said like that extra pound will kill you. And Kayla Harrison already has a tough time cutting to this weight class, and you just got to wait to see how she looks on the scales before you're touching this fight in my eyes. But as far as a pick, you have to side with her just because Juliana, as much as she is a dog, how is she able to keep Kayla Harrison off of her for a full 5 rounds, let alone 2 rounds? Like, she is going to be taken down in the first round. I think there's like 100% chance of that. I just think that Kayla Harrison's, if she shows up to this fight in Kayla Harrison's shape, whatever that may be, like she might be a little drained from that extra pound, but if she's there and she's, up for the task, if she's ready to claim this championship. I mean, this is the whole reason she's in the promotion. Like from day one, I mean, we've been hearing about Kayla Harrison, I feel like since like 2019, 2020, when she was like in the PFL just dominating everybody. And she finally made the move, you know, and she's looked good since she has. Beat Holly Holm as we all knew she would, submitted her. But then the Ketlin Vieira one, a little bit worrying that she didn't finish her, right? In some people's eyes. I don't know. It's not necessarily trending in the right direction, but this is just a matchup where I don't know what Pena has to offer her. You know, it's not like she's a much better striker than Kaylin either. You can't really, or Kayla, I'm saying Kaylin. I'm looking at Ketlin Vieira, sorry. You can't say that Juliana is much better striker than Kayla Harrison either, because she's really not that good of a striker. You know, she's just a dog. Like you said, she just doesn't die necessarily. But I think if there is one fighter that could just kill her, is Kayla Harrison, because she's just, you know, the best athlete that this division's probably ever seen, the best judo, you know, practitioner, the best wrestler, all that. So yeah, everything's pointing to a Kayla Harrison dominant decision. But I mean, it's the same read, man. If she starts to slow down after that third round, or if Pena's still hanging around, then you gotta consider her live, because she's proven it in the past that she can do it and pull it off. Honestly, I mean, we were talking about this the other day. I think that stands as honestly the biggest upset in UFC history. Yeah, yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. Am I right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've never been that more shocked watching a UFC fight unfold, because that was unreal, and it looked like Amanda was just as shocked as us. It was insane. But I don't know if there's any fighter that could shock the world twice. Maybe it's Julia.
Some of these numbers on Pena are like insane. Pena by decision on FanDuel is plus 1100. Pena in round 4 plus 3,300. Pena in round 5 plus 3,800. Probably gonna be bigger on DraftKings. I mean, those are lines you have to bet. Like, you just have to.
Yeah, a little sprinkle, man. It's definitely live. If you just don't, you can't ever predict what somebody will look like going to their first championship fight, especially somebody like Kayla cutting all that weight and not necessarily looking the greatest against somebody like Ketlin Vieira, who we expected her to beat thoroughly. Hey, man, I'm still a picker. We saw her in person and how big she is, man. It is insane. So I'm gonna pick her to win this one by I'll say second round sub. I'll say, you know what, fuck it. I'll say first round sub. I think she just shuts all of us up before we can even get started. And she's like, you know what? I'm here to take what's mine. So if she doesn't do that, then maybe Juliana Pena pulls it off again.
Who did we see in person?
Remember, we saw at the Ariel Helwani Live Expo, we saw Kayla Harrison. Technically, she was on that panel, but she was down there, and we were just like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think this should be Kayla, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's good. I'm actually like I don't want to. We talked about it for way too long, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. But like, I'm like oddly excited for this fight, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one just because of how much is on the line, and then it has crazy upset potential. This could be the second biggest upset. You know, hey man, that would be insane if she did it twice, though. That would be the craziest thing ever, honestly, if she did it twice.
Before we get to the main event, we got some comments. We got Nico saying Pena by late round TKO. I mean, there's a world. It
is a world. It is a world. We can all see it. It's crazy.
Pena coming off a loss to Pennington. She definitely did lose to Pennington. Nobody's disagreeing with that. She lost to Pennington. 100%. That's like one of the worst robberies ever. She clearly lost. I don't want to do MMA math though. We're betting lines here. I mean, I think Harrison probably gets the early sub, but you just never know. Her cardio is just shit. Cutting a lot of weight. 5 rounds. Nico saying Pena by retardation. Bad shot by me. Hey, I'm giving your world a chance. You were supposed to check me, but you didn't check me. Agree with me, because what I'm saying is logical. All right, let's move on. Main event time. Before we get to the main event, we've got a bunch of bets for this weekend. A lot of money lines. Haven't had a lot of money lines recently. This weekend we're gonna have probably a bet on almost every single fight. Maybe like not that Medeiros fight, but I'm probably going to bet every other fight outside of that. Yeah, I think I will. So, yeah, if you want access to some great bets and some great content, only $14 a week right now. Yeah, we're making a lot of money. You guys can just go check the work for yourself. Not a lot to be said here. The link's going to be under this video for everything related to our brand. So if you want Instagram, TikTok, if you want the Discord, anything, just click that link under this live stream. But for now, let's get into this main event. Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. Interesting fight. I don't like, are the rumors true that O'Malley like fought Merab with like a bum hip? Because I think he did, because he had like an operation on it like a few weeks after the fight, or like a week or two after the fight. And it did look like something was bothering him in the fight with his hip. And maybe he didn't want to pull out of that fight because he didn't want to ruin the sphere, the whole show. But I don't know. I don't know how much you can really believe that. It's weird. I mean, everybody knows at this point what happened in that first fight. Merab Dvalishvili pretty much ragdolled him, won 4 rounds to 1. But we did see in that round 5 that Merab can get hurt, and showed us, it confirmed that Sean O'Malley hits hard as fuck. So I don't know. I mean, if O'Malley is coming into this fight 100% healthy, which you never know, the guy is always, if he wants to beat Merab, he needs to be 100% healthy. And the guy is never fucking healthy. I remember going into that Aljo fight, he was like hurt to the ribs or something. But that was a different fighter. Aljo doesn't have the pace and the pressure like Merab does, especially at 135. Maybe at 145 he does. At 135, Aljo did not have that. He was just a very slick submission artist who had incredible control. This is completely different. Merab's style was made for 5 rounds. And against a guy like that who's, you know, inbred and on every EPO known to mankind, you can't be hurt. So I don't know. I think O'Malley's very fragile, which is going to be a big-time problem here. It's going to be a big-time problem going into the fight. If he's going into this fight completely healthy, I think there's a world where he wins like 3 rounds to 2. Do I think he gets a finish? I don't know, but it's just so tough to bank on Sean O'Malley being healthy, and that's honestly what I'm banking on. Do I want to bet on him? Me betting on O'Malley plus 230 on DraftKings would be me thinking, okay, he's most likely healthy going into this fight. So, I mean, I feel like he would have pulled out if he wasn't. I think that I think the line is kind of wide. I do. We saw O'Malley hurt him in the past. In the last fight, he supposedly fought that fight hurt. Merab seemingly also fights every fight injured. Like, I know you guys saw the thing with his toe, and in the Umar fight, he like broke something. But here's the thing with Merab, guys. When you're inbred, you don't feel pain. Like, he is really like insane. I think injuries, oddly enough, help Merab. Like, he's clinically insane. I'm like half joking there, and I'm kind of half not. But yeah, I think if O'Malley's healthy going into this fight, this line is wide. But can we trust that? I don't know. I guess it's up to that, honestly. I think if he's healthy, this could be a competitive fight, and I think he can hurt him bad. But who knows? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't get I watched it live. We watched it. Well, I mean, I watched it live, that Umar fight from the stadium, or the arena, sorry. And just like, it's nothing like you've ever seen. It's just nothing like because 23% takedown percentage against Umar Nurmagomedov, right? That was his takedown percentage. 7 of 30. He attempted 30 takedowns. So in my eyes, Sean O'Malley has to finish this fight, because I just don't see how it's possible for him to win 3 rounds out of 2 when, if Merab kind of knows in a round that he's losing, he can just take you down, or at least try to take you down repeatedly and nonstop. And even if you defend one, guess what? Here comes another one 2 seconds later, and then another, and then another. And it is unrelenting and unbelievable pressure. It's inhuman. It's actually alien shit that he does in an octagon. And that's why I just can't pick against him. I know that Sean O'Malley is as talented as it gets on the feet. He is actually one of my favorite strikers to watch, because you just never know. And I feel like he invents shit on the fly, because he has such a good feel for footwork and movement and octagon control. But none of that shit matters when you're fighting Merab Dvalishvili. And the problem is, he will never stay out of your face no matter what. And yeah, he got him in the 5th round. You know why he got him in the 5th round? Because maybe he finally started to slow down a little bit, and he was able to land a clean shot. But for those first 4 rounds, he's gonna be in his fucking grill. And
I don't even think he slowed down. He just, like, O'Malley's just so powerful that especially
And
if
he ran into the knee. It was a perfect knee, and that is the threat of Sean O'Malley, as he is so accurate, so good at
so
finding.
it was a teep kick to the body. If you're talking
Or
about
Teep, sorry. You're right. But he is so accurate and so precise with his striking that's always going to be just the great equalizer of his in this matchup, right? Because otherwise, he's not. I really don't think he's gonna, you know, be able to defend the takedowns enough to be able to keep it competitive unless he hurts him in the process. Because if you're not landing any damage and just letting, defending the takedowns and doing a good job of that, but nothing else, then you're still losing the fight because you're not getting any offense off. And that was kind of the case. So it's just such a big problem to deal with because you just never have space to operate as you do. And Sean O'Malley is a counter striker to begin with. He's not even a pressure fighter. So I mean, Umar was on the back foot for 5 rounds. That was unreal to see in real time. 30 takedown attempts against Umar Nurmagomedov and 7 landed, and he held him down for stretches. Yes, there were points where Umar looked like he might have, escaped and landed something of substance, but still it didn't matter because Merab was right back up and right back. And we can't forget that this guy is also, I mean, yes, there's question about the chin if you hit him right on the chin, but he's proven to be durable in the past too. We can't forget what he went through against Moraes and still was able to pull out that W because, again, he just kept going to the takedowns and kept going to the takedowns. It isn't just you can't compare this guy to anything else. I think he's a fucking freak in the best way. Yeah, man, he's gonna win this fight. I'd be shocked, honestly, if Sean won. I know the line's wide, but I would be surprised because he has to finish him in my eyes. I just can't. I don't even think a decision is in the cards because Merab won't let you just win a 3-2 decision. I don't think he will let that happen because he would just go to the takedowns repeatedly. But if you hurt him and knock him out, then you did your job. So that's always a possibility. I'm going to be rooting for that because I don't want to see Merab do this to 10 more people in a row because who's gonna beat this guy, Lucas? Tell me who's gonna beat him. I don't know. It's not gonna be Sean though. It's not gonna be Sean this weekend. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance. There's a chance Sean can win. As crazy as that sounds,
There's a chance, man. There's always a chance in this fighting game, but this guy is he's not a human, man. He's something else. I don't know, bro. That cardio is unbelievable. Like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But I'm rooting for Sean. Sugar Sean, baby. Let's go. Let's shock the world.
You just went on some whole rampage about how Merab's going to destroy.
I did because I just couldn't believe what I saw in real time. But I still to this day I can't believe what I was watching. Because I remember sitting next to this guy who was like part of. I told you the story. Like he was part of somebody's team. It looked like, or some Russian dude that looked like he was part of Habib's team or something. If you had to profile him, and I was just like, "Who you think's gonna win this fight?" He was like, "Yeah, Merab." And Merab was an underdog, bro. Oh my god, and he looked so dominant. So yeah, man. After watching that in person, I'm not gonna pick against him, but I'll be rooting for Sean O'Malley because I love his striking. It's so beautiful to watch. But can he even get it off against somebody like Merab? The answer was no the first time. So hopefully it's yes, and hopefully he comes in healthy, like you said, because he's definitely not winning. You said that perfectly. He has to come into this fight with everything he's got, all his tools intact, because if not, then you just are signing yourself up for an L.
I feel like, this doesn't really have to do anything because it's a different style, but I feel like that Merab Umar fight was much closer than you make it out to seem. He did not dominate that fight in any way, shape, or form. He didn't. As a matter of fact, I think you can make a case that Umar actually won that fight. I think that was a very
No.
I know you were there, and like whenever he emoted, the crowd was going insane, and just those big, emotes got crazy. But that was a very close fight if you really watch it. It was a very, very close fight. And
Lucas,
if I was to rewatch it again, I'd probably say Merab 3-2, but you could definitely make a case that Umar won that fight. And that has nothing to do with this, and I understand what you're going to say. You don't even have to respond. It has nothing.
You know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say.
But this is a completely different matchup, which is the thing. It's a completely different matchup. I think this is an easier fight for Merab than the Umar fight is. So at the end of the day, what I think about the scorecards in that last fight doesn't really matter. I just think that there's a chance that Merab isn't this big, bad wolf threatening type of fighter that we think he is. And at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, Sean O'Malley has all the finishing potential in this fight. All the finishing potential. Merab doesn't finish anybody outside of Marlon Moraes, who's like zero cardio. So there is a world that Sean O'Malley can hurt him. But then again, I mean, we saw the fight happen once. And even if Sean O'Malley had a bum hip, I mean, the cardio and pressure, the EPO, the inbredness, going to be a lot.
All that, bro. Whatever it is.
We're kind of going long. I don't know if you have anything else to say. I want to go over some comments, but I'm going to pick.
Go over the comments.
I'm going to pick Merab by decision, but I think this is going to be a closer fight than the first time around, banking that Sean is healthy, and I think the line is wide as well. Let's look at some of these comments. We got Cole saying, you could say this one if you want, but he's saying get on Twitch. We're live streaming on Twitch right now.
Are we? Wait, what?
Yeah, we're live streaming on Twitch right now. We have one person on Twitch.
Oh,
one person on
why
Twitch.
Is he saying, so let him know, bro. Why are you?
You can go on Twitch right now. The Counterpunch Pod. Exactly. We've got one person on Twitch. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure a bot commented on Twitch earlier and put up. We got Ashley saying hi. We got one Twitch viewer. We got 6 Twitter viewers, and we have 13 YouTube viewers. So I know
it's pretty late. I'm not mad at that, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty good for us at this hour. But yeah, we're on Twitch, so go check it out. FBA saying I want to see Cejudo versus the winner for intergender bantamweight. What are you even talking about, bro? O'Malley knee.
Oh my God, that's what everybody was saying the first time. Knee, O'Malley knee, and that's why I even said it in the breakdown when I was saying what he caught it with, because everybody was saying that. But hey, it could happen. It could happen for sure. It could definitely happen. This is gonna be a fun one, bro. I'm exhausted. I'm so sorry. I look like shit now, but I'm so excited to be there. O'Malley got surgery after, which is why he didn't get matched versus Corey. Yes, that is true. But that would have been, oh man, I would have loved to see that fight, Corey versus O'Malley. Because man, how good did Corey look? I mean, we didn't expect anything else, but man, he looked so good against Figgy.
I just think Figgy looks so bad, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it was a combination of both. Yeah, Figgy is just he's just kind of washed up at this point, bro. I'm sorry, but even before the fight, everybody was saying like, what is this guy? Is he even taking this serious? Like he was coming into the fight looking kind of overweight and shit. But hey, this card should be really fun, man. I'm excited. I'm happy. We're both gonna be there. My brother's gonna be there. I know you'll be pulling up with a few of your people, so definitely will be a good time.
Forward, Sean times a knee. Rob falls back on his head. It goes.
It's not happening, Nico. It's not happening.
That'll be awesome. We got Marky. What's going on, Marky? Hope you're doing well. We're about to wrap this show up. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. Damn, we're supposed to go like 50 minutes. Yeah. We'll go over these final comments. Each round was clear, 3-2 Merab. I mean, I guess, but rewatch it. Maybe it'll change your mind. Who gives a fuck? O'Malley needs to implement JDM's plan, show a lot of knees and uppercuts to scare Merab. I mean, it's different. JDM is actually a very talented grappler, so he was able to hold his own. It's a completely different matchup. So I don't know. I think it's easier said than done. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have any final words, say them right now, because I think that's it. We went on like 30 minutes longer than we expected. But you got any final? I know you just said your thing. You're gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. We're not gonna be together because you're an asshole. But that's
okay. We'll be able to be together for the prelims for sure. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I think a lot of finishes in stock. Hopefully, those big favorites come through because I will definitely have some money on a few of them. So. Josh Van come through.
I like
that. It's not even a big favorite. I can't believe on that.
If I had to choose the 3 biggest favorites that I'm most confident in, I'm probably going. There's a lot of juice, but if I had to choose 3 out of all the juice, I'm going Quillen Salkild, I'm going Azamat Mirzakhanov, and I'm going Ju Sang Yu. I'd probably leave out Josh Van and Wang Kong. I think those are the 3 that I'm most confident in. But I think all the juice probably comes through.
Yeah. All the juice, baby. We're laying all the juice this weekend. I love it. But it should be a fun card regardless. Kevin Holland's on the card. Second time seeing him in action. That'll be cool. Yeah, man. Excited. Hopefully you guys enjoy the card as well. And be on the lookout for more Instagram content, Discord. Get in there. And get in there now because this weekend we going up, baby. You already know.
FBA saying Usman money line.
Ooh, man, I'm tempted. I'm gonna take it just for the culture, but I don't know. That's a funny fight, man. I don't.
We got Nico's in, but yeah, Colby wins the pound 20 times. Yeah, Colby's done. Sorry, get out of here with that. That's it. That's how you know it's time to stop the show. A motherfucker start talking.
Kobe's mentioned it. Kobe's name is coming up, guys. It's time to wrap it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you today. Parlay stream for sure. Thursday, be there. Thursday or Friday, one of the two.
Yeah. It's gonna have to be a little later. Definitely not this late, but probably evening time. But we'll definitely get that out for sure.
Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been Lucas and Rohan. We're out of here. Peace.